If you want to write but need a little motivation or inspiration, make a plan for this Saturday. The Douglas Anderson Creative Writing Department is hosting a free day-long writers workshop, and here to tell us about it is the school's creative writing director and NEA fellow, Tiffany Melanson. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Also, we're joined by award-winning author, host of the Black and Published podcast, and Jacksonville Today columnist, Nikesha Williams. Hey, Nikesha.
Hey, Ann. Good morning, Jacksonville.
And DA student and 12th grader and poet, Nylah Watkins. Hey, Nylah.
Hello.
We're going to get a poem from Nylah in a little bit. But Tiffany, let's start off. This is kind of a post-pandemic first, right? This writer's workshop was around, and then COVID kind of put the kibosh for a little while.
It did. Our festival, the last one we had planned, was supposed to be in 2020. And the week of the festival, all of Duval County schools closed down. And so we've really been working hard to bring this event back to not only our student population, but also to the local literary community. It started in 1994, and it's like we consider it kind of a gift to the writing community of Jacksonville. We are a hub of young writers and young writers' voices, and we really want them to understand that the world is open to them by bringing these writers from all over the world to them.
And it should be said, DA is obviously a rigorous program, all kinds of programs, theater, art, dance, music, but writing, if you go on the DA website, it reads like a college, level website, course description. So it is really high level, but it is a community event. So who are you pulling into this event? Obviously, students can attend.
Yes. And it is, there is a fee for attendance during the day on Saturday, and that just is to cover the cost of bringing these writers in. If you attend the full day of workshops, we have a $35 ticket for students and educators, and our goal is to bring writers who our students can aspire to learn from, and even in their future become like.
Mm-hmm.
So every writer that we've brought in this year's festival has a connection to or a relationship to the state of Florida in some way. Either they're an educator at a university and they teach writing at the highest levels, or they are a writer who was born from our literal community. So one of our headliners, Disha Filia, is a Jacksonville native. And her book, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, is one that our students have found really inspiring. And then another one of our writers, Dantiel W. Moniz, is actually a Douglas Anderson alumni. And her book, Milk, Blood, Heat, which is an extraordinary series of stories, many of which who are set here in Jacksonville and Duval County, they inspire students to realize that they can tell a story about and from their own communities. And that's really important for us to reflect back to them.
When we talk about writers that you can aspire to be, Nikesha Williams, you have a really extraordinary story, and you are about one of the most prolific authors that most people have ever known, certainly that I have.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your path to being an author, a multi-published author, and kind of doing it all in a life that involved work and children.
You know some of this story because we used to work together at First Coast News when I started. After I left First Coast News, which is the story we won't get into, I started what became my debut novel, For Women. So I started that in like 2014 and finished it. No, I started in 2013 and finished it in 2015. Lots of ups and downs with that. Tried to get an agent, tried to go the traditional route, got very close, was no sale. And in the end, I began to self-publish. And so once I realized that I could do it myself, I just did. And so there are a lot of people in the city of Jacksonville who have met me at Riverside Arts Market or out on A. Philip Randolph when there's the Melanin Market, or if you followed me around at the Jacksonville Book Festival, like I would literally sell you a book out of the trunk of my car with the square reader in my purse. I have no shame about that. and I just kept doing it. And so I self-published my first 6 books, 5 novels, 1 poetry collection. And then after that, my 7th book, which came out in October of 2022, came about because I was freelancing and I wrote a story about American Beach for the publication The Bitter Southerner. And so I wrote about American Beach and Jacksonville and this history that's here and how everything tied back to Kingsley Plantation and really told that story. And between that essay and another I had written for the Bitter Southerner, I had an acquisitions editor from LSU Press reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to write a book for their university press. And so I'm like, absolutely. And it came with money. Absolutely. And so that was my first like foray into traditional publishing. And even through that, I was still working on another novel, which I finished in 2022. I used that to get my agent. And then my agent got me a nice book deal. And that's what's coming out next year. And so I really have had the trajectory of writing and publishing at every level, from self-publishing to publishing other authors through my own imprint to going through a small press at the university press level to now really being in a big 5 publisher. My publisher is Simon & Schuster, the imprint is Scout Press. And so the journey has been a long one. It's been a grind. It's been a hustle, but I've never given up. And I think I can show students that you can always find a way into the publishing industry, and it doesn't have to be what you assume it has to be.
Nylah, you're a senior now,
Yes, I am.
and tell us about your interest in writing, sort of how it originated, and what you hope to do with it.
Of course. So I think I've been writing for as long as I can remember. I know a lot of people say that it is really true. But I took a break from it for a really long time, for about like 8 years or so, when I was in the performing arts. And it has just been coming to DA. I'm from New York City, and I've only been in Jacksonville for about a year and a half. So coming to DA and really having the space and the nurturing space where I can flourish and in my writing, and really be encouraged and pursue it in a way that is authentic to me, and really understanding the fact that I not only write for myself, but I write for my community and for the people around me. And really my mission, and, something I really want is, to help people not feel as alone, because that's how I felt, without writing alone. And yes, so I want to be a novelist. I have a lot of poetry as well, so I try to infuse poetry and fiction into my writing, and kind of like lyrical fiction. And I am working on my own novella after Toni Morrison, and it's titled For Piccola, after her novel The Bluest Eye. And that is something I really want to continue and pursue, and eventually publish myself.
And so you do writing. You also perform your writing?
I do. I do spoken word. So I've, really grown in that aspect as well, because that's not something I did before I got to Jacksonville. And really my friends and Miss Melanson have really pushed me through that. And, once I found, my footing, it's something I really enjoy doing and I really love doing.
Is that one of your teachers?
Yes, Miss Melanson.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Sorry. So you are her teacher.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. And so tell us about her as a student.
Well, Nylah is exceptional. When she auditioned for DA, going into her 11th grade year, we don't typically have students auditioning that late in their high school experiences, because we have a very, very rigorous program. And we knew pretty much immediately that she belonged in our space, that there were going to be incredible opportunities for her, because we were going to be able to open up some doors and spaces for her to realize the real power and breadth of her extraordinary voice. And she has been fearless. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why the festival exists. It's a fundraiser. It's something that is done to not only inspire our students in our community, but also to make sure that we can continue to do this work, that we can allow young writers like Nylah the opportunity to meet these writers of the highest caliber and dream of their words coming into the world in the same way. It's really the most important work I've ever done in my life. And I'm a poet myself, so I consider my work as a writing teacher at Douglas Anderson, like a version of a poem that I write every day. And Nylah is just an absolute standout, and we're incredibly proud of the work that she's done.
Well, with that setup, Nylah, I believe you brought something that you can read for us today. It's a poem called "Some Girls." Do you want to tell us anything about it, or do you want to just read it? What you want to set it up a little?
Sure. So, firstly, this poem is after Joy Harjo. Her poem, She Had Some Horses, which is about her, the Native American community and her connection and her relationship. So, I wrote this in my junior year. It's I think, one of the most important poems that I've written. And I've performed it, a lot at festivals in Jacksonville, and it's won contests. So I'm just very proud of it. And yeah, so I'll just read it now.
Okay.
Okay. Some Girls, after Joy Harjo. Some girls are birds of morning. Some girls are sirens of night. Some girls are made of stars. Some girls are basins of tears. I am not these girls. Some girls are fat. Some girls are thin. Some girls don't own a scale. Some girls have never lived without one. I am not these girls. Some girls are pretty. Some girls are plain. Some girls glow like a red moon. Some girls dull like a forgotten pond. I am not these girls. Some girls stuff their bras. Some girls suffocate their legs. Some girls cage their stomachs. Some girls starve their guts. I am not these girls. Some girls have hair that breezes like wind. Some girls have eyes like the sky. Some girls have hair that curls like waves. Some girls have eyes like the sun. Some girls have hair that defies gravity. Some girls have eyes like death. I am not these girls. Some girls are little girls, wrapping their heads with towels, squealing at their inches. Some girls scream as relaxer burns fester. Some girls sizzle curls till they're straight as bone. Some girls watch their hair wither and fall out. I am these girls. Some girls have dirt skin, so some girls scrub until skin bleeds raw. Some girls rub chemical cream until melanin disappears. Some girls hide from the sun. I am these girls. Some girls hear, you don't have enough for a man to grab onto. Some girls hear, how can you have no butt? You're black. Some girls hear, your body is a distraction. Some girls hear, you will never be pretty enough to love. I am these girls. I am a girl who sucks in her stomach. I am a girl who is skin and bones. I am a girl who stuffs her pants because I am a girl who hates her hips. I am a girl who longs for Beyonce hair, but I am a girl who will never have it. I am a girl who was made of tears. I am a girl with eyes like death. I am a girl who will never be beautiful enough to love. I am these girls. I am. Woo!
Wow.
I know, right?
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nylah. This you wrote as a junior.
Yes, I did.
And how does a teacher like Tiffany, or we'll not call you by your proper name, Tiffany, how does she help you bring along a story like this? Or is it just kind of something that you have the freedom to come up with on your own?
Both. So this was I wrote this during our anaphora lesson, which is just repetition in a poem. And I remember just having the idea of reading Joy Harjo's poem and having the idea for it. And we have portfolios in our poetry and fiction classes. So we get a lesson and then we write to the lesson in the exercise. So, we all had to write, an anaphora poem. And this is the one I chose. And I remember sitting down with Miss Melanson, conferencing for our poem, and she noticed about how I was interweaving different experiences between being a woman and being a Black woman. And she sat me down and she said, Nylah, do you realize that you're mixing them? And I was like, no, I didn't. And she was like, because that's how you see the world as a Black woman and as a Black girl. So she was like, you have the opportunity here to do something kind of like how Joy Harjo did in her poem, to be very broad and, really speak about the experiences and the societal beauty expectations and standards about all women, but then narrow it down to Black women, and then eventually narrow it down to yourself. And that's something I did. And without, her guidance, I do not think it could be, what it is today. And it's the support, the unconditional support and love that she gives us is the reason why our work can be as great as it is, and can be in reach and touch as many people as it does.
Miss Melanson is having a moment.
Having a
here.
moment.
I mean, it's an emotional poem, and it's also just an emotional, a tribute to the work that you've done with her. But it's a great opportunity that the school offers, and this workshop really is an opportunity for the community to benefit from some of that extraordinary, pool of talent.
Absolutely. And we want anyone in the community who really sees himself as a writer or who has an interest in learning about the world of writing to consider showing up, because the cost of the ticket is simply sewing back into this community that allows these young writers to continue to do what Nylah just demonstrated, which is to speak so powerfully from their own experiences and their own voice. And, we want to have this festival provide that same inspiration for writers in our community, in addition to our students.
And Nikesha, will you be there with your square reader in your purse if somebody wants to make a purchase?
No, I will not. I am no longer vending my own books. Thank God. I sold out of them at an event here at WJCT last year, but I will be there. I will be part of the reading, and I will be reading from the new book, The Seven Daughters of Dupree, which will publish in 2025.
Wow, congratulations. Well, this is Saturday at 9 a.m. It goes pretty much all day, and then there's a 7 o'clock reading. How can people get tickets?
All they have to do is go to our website, dawriters.com, and click on the Writers Festival link. On that page, there is an overview of the festival and its history, and there are bios of all of the writers who we're bringing in, who are participating, as well as overviews of the workshops that they'll be offering to give the community an opportunity to learn about the event in advance. And then there are tickets for sale at all levels at links on that site.
Well, Tiffany Melanson, Nikesha Williams, Nylah Watkins, thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you for
Thank
having us.
you.